Boo!
Ah!
Haha, are you scared? Why are you on the ground? Too scared to say something back, Jeffrey?
Nah, man, I told you, I'm a mutant.
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't have a degree in weird goat diseaseology.
I don't either.
Boo! Ah ha 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 ha. Jeffrey, what did you mean by mutant?
I can go over it again, but it's going to be scientific.
Okay.
This is DNA, also called deoxyribonucleic acid. Smaller sections are called genes and amino acids, and they contain instructions to make proteins.
Wow. But that's too confusing.
Think of it like a city block. DNA is like a city block. The two side streets are like the sides of the DNA strand. Each business is like a gene, and each person at the business is like a nucleic acid. Every business has something to sell. Each person at a business helps make what the business sells. Just like a business, each gene makes a protein, and each nucleic acid or person at the business helps to make that protein.
Wow, that's a lot. Time for math class, though.
Welcome to math class. Okay, you ready to learn why I keep falling over when I get Jeffrey, stop talking in class? Ah! Tonight, your homework is the problems numbered 1 through 50 on page 167. Here's why I always fall over. You remember the DNA I taught you about? Some of my DNA got changed, so now my muscles take a lot longer to relax after getting scared.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Is that similar to anything else in regular lives? I'm still a little confused.
Yeah, it's just like our math homework. Our teacher assigned us the problems 1 through 50 on page 167. Instead, I mishear her and write down problems 1 through 49 on page 168. Now all my work is incorrect just because of a few mistakes in writing down the problem numbers. That's just like my DNA. I have a string of letters that are supposed to make one thing, the DNA and genes. Some of those letters got changed, aka mutated, and now my muscles take a lot longer to relax after getting scared.
All that mutation stuff makes sense, but how did you get it?
My parents had the same mutation, so when I was born, it was passed to me. Mutations can also be acquired by the environment or made by mistakes in the body.
Okay, that makes sense, but what is different about you?
Normally, when my muscles flex, they would be able to relax quickly. My mutation changed a gene called CLCN1, making my muscles take a lot longer to relax.
Okay, cool, that makes a lot of sense. I'll see you later. Hey dude, I have some more questions for you.
Fire away.
I was wondering what these mutations would actually be like.
There are a few types I'll tell you about. Number one, point mutation. There are changes in one or a few letters in the DNA string. AAA, TTT, GGG could change into ATA, TTT, GCG. Number two, missense. The changes in the DNA make a different amino acid. This is like when I misheard the assignment and then did the wrong homework. How I remember it. Missense is similar to misspelled, and if you misspell a word, you create the wrong word that means the wrong thing. Number three, silent. Multiple different combinations of letters can make the same amino acid, so some mutations make no change. This is like if my coach told me to run 5 kilometers, but I thought he told me to run 3.1 miles. It was a mistake, but the distances are equivalent and the outcome is the same. Number four, nonsense. A three-letter segment of the DNA string is called a codon. There are specific combinations called stop codons that don't make an amino acid. They're at the end and stop the cycle. A nonsense mutation happens when a stop codon is made before the end, causing a premature stop. This is like if the school dismissal bell messed up and let everyone out in the middle of the school day. Number five, frameshift. This one is a little more complex. When a letter in the DNA is deleted or inserted, it changes the length of the string and messes up multiple things. Original sequence AAA, TTT, CCC could be changed to AAT, TTC, CC. The third A was deleted and now the whole string is different. The first codon has a T in it, the second has a C in it, and the third is incomplete. The whole thing is messed up. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, point is a few changes, missense makes the wrong amino acid, nonsense ends the cycle prematurely, silent is a change that doesn't do anything, and frameshift changes the length and messes up a lot.
Very well put. Nice job. Oh, by the way, the type of mutation that I have is a missense. And now the gene called CLCN1 has trouble correctly making a protein called a chloride channel. It sounds complex, but basically now my muscles can take 10 to 20 seconds to relax after involuntary contractions.
Cool stuff, thanks for teaching me. Hola, chicos. Today we will be doing a project. Please refer to the instructions on Schoology. Let's just put this into Google Translate so we can understand it.
That's how transcription works.
What do you mean?
The DNA has all the information of how to create proteins, but in order to understand it, it has to be translated, or in this case, transcribed.
But how is it similar?
When we don't understand Senor Goat, we use Google Translate and it tells us what he says in English.
Yeah, because we don't understand him.
In order for the cell to understand the instruction, it translates them with the process of transcription. During transcription, something called mRNA is made in the nucleus to translate the DNA. The mRNA is the instructions for how to make a protein. In order for mRNA to be made, something called helicase comes in and unwinds the DNA. Something else called RNA polymerase then comes in and reads the DNA, and it places down the RNA building blocks. But RNA is a little different than DNA is.
How? They seem so similar.
First off, RNA has one more oxygen, and second of all, it has different bases. Instead of the base T, it has the base U.
I remember you said DNA was double-stranded. Is RNA single-stranded then? And why is it made in the nucleus?
Nice job. RNA is not double-stranded, it is single-stranded. And it is made in the nucleus because DNA has all the information, but it can't go outside the nucleus, so RNA is made to move the information.
It's cool how DNA information is transcribed.
Yeah, now let's start this project. So, do you remember those instructions for that Spanish project we transcribed from Spanish to English?
Of course I do. It's just like how our body copies a gene into mRNA.
Precisely. And when we get that copy of mRNA, there's a process called translation that turns the mRNA into a protein.
So would this be like us making the project from the directions we just transcribed from Spanish to English?
Exactly.
Alright, tell me all about this translation thingy.
Before we start, there's 3 types of RNA you should know about. Messenger RNA is the copy of a gene we get from transcription. Transfer RNA transports amino acids to the site of translation. Ribosomal RNA is responsible for translating mRNA into a protein. First, the mRNA, tRNA, and parts of the ribosome come together. The mRNA moves one codon at a time. The tRNA pairs with the anticodon. The anticodon is the complement to the codon. It has the corresponding letters. The tRNA that brought the anticodon also brought the amino acid that builds the protein. This process will continue until a stop codon is reached and no amino acid is added. This is like us turning the English directions from our Spanish project into the actual project. We work through one direction at a time, just like the mRNA is read one codon at a time. Each person in the group adds something different to the project, just like the tRNA brings an amino acid to build the protein. The group continually works through directions until there are none left. This is like how a stop codon ends the cycle.
Wow, you're a good teacher.
Thanks, I'm glad we got to become friends and bond over science.
Me too. See ya.